What's up, everybody? It's me, Chris, here to give my UFC 98 predictions. Real quick, I'm just going to run through the undercard. I'm not too excited for any of these fights, so I'm just going to give quick predictions. First fight is George Roop against David Kaplan. I don't know a whole lot about Roop. Kaplan had that pretty entertaining entrance with the music and whatnot when he fought Junior Kaplan, but other than that, I don't really see too much from him. I'm going to go with Roop here to win the fight. Next up, we got Andre Guzman against Krzysztof Shashinsky. Shashinsky's a late replacement. He's filling in for Houston Alexander. Houston Alexander broke his hand, unfortunately. Actually, it might not be that unfortunate, to be honest. Guzman probably would have tapped Houston Alexander out pretty quickly, and Houston would have been out of the UFC, so it's kind of a gift and a curse. But either way, this is a good fight. You know, Shashinsky's coming off that submission over Brian Stan last month, getting right back in there. Guzman's a good fighter. I don't think one has a big advantage over the other, but I think Guzman's a little bit better. So I'm going to go with Guzman to win this fight by decision. Next up, we got Philippe Nover against Kyle Bradley. Nover. This will be his first non-Ultimate Fighter fight in the Octagon. Dana White's really high on him. I think he thought he was going to win the Ultimate Fighter, so this is more a showcase fight. They always do this with a lot of the Ultimate Fighter guys, the ones that they're, really looking to establish. They'll give them kind of easy fights where they can look good. And I think that's the case here with Nover. I expect him to win in a pretty exciting performance. Next up, we got Tim Hague against Pat Barry at the heavyweights. Same as the Nover fight. Dana White, UFC, they're kind of high on Pat Barry. He's an exciting heavyweight with his kickboxing background and whatnot. So I expect him to win this fight, Hague's more of an opponent, no disrespect. But I think Barry's going to use his dynamic striking with the kicks, chop him down low and stop him with kicks either high or low. Next up, we have Yoshihiko Yoshida against Brandon Wolf. Honest, I don't know anything about Brandon Wolf. Yoshida's coming off that loss where he got knocked out cold by Josh Koscheck. But before that, he looked pretty good in fights against like Carl Parisian and whatnot. Not Matt Brown. That was someone else, I believe. But anyways, I think Yoshida's going to win this fight. UFC, they're trying to, they like that Korean market. They're still trying to establish UFC out in Korea, so they want to get Yoshida a win here. Final undercard fight, we got Brock Larson against Chris Wilson. Similar styles. Problem is, I think Brock Larson's a little bit more explosive and a little bit more powerful, so I think he's going to win this fight by decision. Alright, main card. First fight, we got Xavier Fopu-Pokum against Drew McFedries. Drew the Massacre McFedries against Professor X. Much easier than saying his name, to be honest. Professor X is a late replacement for James Irvin. Unfortunately, he got hurt. I was really looking forward to that fight against him and McFedries. Those two guys have the same exact style. I just want to go in there and just trade bombs until one goes down. This still should be a good fight, though. Professor X coming off that loss last month to Dennis Kang. But he's a Muay Thai fighter, so this should still be a stand-up fight. Hard to make a prediction, McFedries got great power in his hands. But he has been stunned in fights before, most notably in the Patrick Cote fight. I think Professor X is more well-rounded stand-up than Muay Thai game. May give him problems, so I'm going to go with Professor X to win this fight by TKO. But could go either way, and I do think this will be the most exciting fight of the night. Next up, we got Sean Shirk against Frankie Edgar. Shirk's coming off the really good win and really exciting win over Tyson Griffin. Before that, he had the loss to BJ Penn for the title. We got dominated. Edgar's coming off a win over Hermes Franca. Before that, he got dominated by Gray Maynard. I think this fight's going to look exactly like Gray Maynard, Frankie Edgar. Shirk is a better, I don't know if he's a better wrestler necessarily, credential-wise, but I think he's a better wrestler inside the UFC. I think he's got better strikes. He's got the better opposition. On his record, he's been in bigger fights. He's just a more experienced fighter, and I think he's just I think he's a better fighter at this point in his career. And he's bigger and stronger, so I think he's got the better stand-up. I think he'll control the fight there, and I think on the ground, he can get more takedowns than Frankie Edgar, and I think he can smother him, kind of grind him out to a decision, which is how Sean Shirk pretty much wins all of his fights by decision. Next up, we got Dan Miller against late replacement Chael Sonnen. Sonnen's replacing Yushin Okami, who unfortunately got hurt. He fought last month. Or no, he didn't fight last month, but he fought not too long ago. He got triangle choked real quick by Damian Maia. Dan Miller's coming off a quick submission win over Jake Rochal in his Rochal's UFC debut. Both guys are wrestlers, but the problem here is Dan Miller's got better submission game, and Chael Sonnen's weakness, it's been shown over and over, is submission defense. So I'm going to go with Dan Miller to win this fight either by guillotine or rear naked choke. Nothing against Chael Sonnen. It's just, submissions seem to be his kryptonite, and Miller's pretty good at them. Anyways, next up, co-main event, we got Matt Hughes against Matt Serra. Wow, this fight is long overdue, man. They've been trying to make this fight since they were both coaches on The Ultimate Fighter. I forgot one of them got injured. I believe it was Serra. Hughes fought GSP, Serra fought GSP, blah, blah, blah. Y'all know the deal. Anyways, Hughes is coming off back-to-back losses to Thiago Silva and GSP. Pretty much got dominated in both those fights. Before that he had his last win over Chris Lytle. Not really a too exciting performance. Matt Serra, aside from a long layoff, he's coming off the loss to GSP. Fight before that was when he shocked the world, beat GSP for the title. This fight, it doesn't matter when it takes place. I would take Matt Hughes. Style-wise, he's just a bigger fighter, stronger. Matt Serra's got the better jiu-jitsu, better submissions, obviously, but Hughes is no slouch in that department. He's got great submission defense. And, Serra's never really submitted anyone in the UFC. So I see Hughes, stand-up-wise, hard to say who has the advantage. Maybe Serra slightly, but not a whole lot. I think Hughes would probably just take him down, beat him up on the ground, and, do the same thing for 3 whole rounds, to be honest. I don't expect this to be a very exciting fight at all. I think Hughes is going to win a decision here, and, on to the main event. Main event for light heavyweight championship, we got Rashad Evans against Lyoto Machida. Both fighters are undefeated. Rashad does have 1 draw against Tito Ortiz. Machida's coming off the really impressive KO in the very first round against Thiago Silva. Before that, he had another impressive performance against Tito Ortiz. Pretty much dominated Tito. Rashad's coming off the fight where he won the title over Forrest Griffin. Before that, he had the just spectacular knockout win over Chuck Liddell. Hard fight to call here, This is pretty much a coin toss if ever there was one. You can make a case for either fighter. Both are undefeated. I don't even think Machida has lost a round in the UFC, if I remember correctly. So he's definitely a guy that's going to be hard to figure out how to beat. But if anyone can do it, it should be Greg Jackson, Rashad Evans' coach. Obviously, everyone knows he's one of the better coaches in MMA. Always seems to figure out a good game plan for his fighters' opponents. So if there's any weaknesses in Machida's game, Greg Jackson's definitely going to be the one to find him. Being that this is a championship fight, it's going to go 5 rounds, or it's scheduled for 5 rounds. That may be the biggest factor, because I don't think one fighter has an advantage over the other too much in any areas. So it may come down to who has the better cardio. In that department, hard to say. Evans has that cardio training where they run the hills in New Mexico. I'm not sure what Machida's cardio training is like. It's never really been tested too much where it's been a problem for him. Evans, he's progressed every single fight. He's gotten better with the... First, he was just a wrestler, take you down. He's gotten better with the kicks, gotten better with the punches, obviously. He just seems to improve every fight out. Machida has a unique style all his own, but it's very effective, obviously. More of a counter fighter. Both fighters are more counter fighters, but more so Machida. So Evans will probably be the aggressor here. If that goes to a decision, that may play into the judge's hands, him being the aggressor. But that also may play into Machida's, game plan, picking him apart from the outside, as he's known to do. Evans does have his wrestling to fall back on if he can get Machida down. Machida's not the easiest fighter to get down, as we saw in the Tito Ortiz fight. If he does get him down, I don't think Machida's going to be able to submit Evans. Evans has pretty good submission defense. I think he should be able to control him there. Tough fight to call. I'm going to go with Rashad Evans by decision. I don't have any real definitive reason why that is. I just think he's got a little bit more tools. A little bit better with the takedowns, a little bit better striking, and I just think he's a little bit better of a fighter. Not a lot, just a little bit better. It's hard to say. I may be proven wrong. I won't be surprised. Machida's undefeated for a reason. And he definitely earned his title shot. Looking forward to this fight. Probably back on Sunday to give my afterthoughts. Real quick though, before I go, if any of you are interested in writing, we got for a boxing, we got this therewillbebloodfightshow.com. It's also carrying MMA content. So far, I'm really the only one writing on there or covering events. If any of you are interested in getting into, writing articles, covering events, maybe doing conference calls, possibly even attending events to cover them in the future, hit me up and let me know. You can submit me an article. I can go over it and let you know what I think. I'm not a writer by any means. I have no history in writing. I'm just doing it because I was asked to do it. So it doesn't have to be the most professional or anything, but obviously MMA is something I'm a big fan of. I like covering it. So, I'm not getting paid right now. You won't get paid, unfortunately, either, but it'll help you, if you want to get in a career, just, do it for fun or something on the side, like I'm doing. It's something you might want to get interested in. So hit me up if you're interested in, possibly covering events, conference calls, or writing articles, stories, whatnot for MMA fighters, possibly doing interviews with fighters over the phone and whatnot. Just hit me up. You can hit me, send me a message on here. Probably back on Sunday to give my afterthoughts on this event, but until then, I'm out of here.